what's the difference between a musical note and ordinary sounds? I'm going to demonstrate something about musical notes by making a time graph of some property of the sound of the note. And what I'll do is basically just use this microphone, and then we're going to graph the position of something in the microphone that's moving around in response to the sounds that I'll be making. And so first, I will graph the position for just an ordinary sound that's not a musical note. I'll just make a hissy sound with my mouth. Okay, so that's some sort of noise. Sounds like we're at the dentist. Next, I'm going to hum a musical note. Okay, next I'll play a note on a recorder. And finally, I will play a note on this harmonica. Okay. So that one I'm actually going to cut out the first bit a little because I was playing a couple of notes at the same time. There we go. And so now we're going to look at these time graphs. And so, well, the top one looks a little bit more erratic, but that was mostly because my volume was changing during the hissing, whereas in the other cases, the volume was more constant. But what's really interesting is to look at these things when I zoom in to very, very short time scales. Okay, so I'm going to stretch out these graphs and stretch them out, and stretch them out, and stretch them out, and stretch them out. And then you see something amazing. So in the top graph, with the ordinary noise, it's just kind of random up and down. There aren't really any patterns in it. But if you look at the other two, you have these almost perfectly repeating patterns. So it's a weird shape. This is the humming. But you see that it repeats, and then it repeats again, repeats again, repeats again, repeats again, repeats again. The recorder repeats and repeats and repeats with a much smaller period. Okay, and the harmonica, it looks a little erratic, but if you look closely, there's still a repeating pattern. It repeats, 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 repeats. Okay, so each of these musical notes, they look very different, but they're characterized by the fact that each of them has a repeating pattern with a certain period. And you notice that the lower note that I hummed, it has a longer period, or the frequency that it's repeating at is lower. And for the recorder note, that was the highest note, and we see that the frequency of this repeat is highest. And for the harmonica, the frequency of the repeat is somewhere in the middle. And so this is why we associate musical notes with particular frequencies. There's actually something about the note that's repeating with that frequency.